Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. This afternoon, we're going to have a look at vignettes and R notebooks and how we can use them with R and Data Shield. So you should all see, I'm showing now in a Data Shield beginning hubs, our introduction to our statistical language, a whole page dedicated to vignettes and R notebook, so that you can go back later on and read them after watching this video. So vignettes are documents that we use to document our packages, to show example of codes and what the packages do. But our notebooks are quite useful to create nice report you may want to share with other in HTML format or any other format you wish. So to work with that, you work with a language called R Markdown. It's a markup languages, and markup languages, what they do, they just format elements of the text and they use in plain text. So how do they look like? This R Markdown it's very dissimilar than HTML because we only use some character. So as you can see, we always got a title and an output. Then we suggested it's an HTML notebook, so we will be able to see it in a web browser. And as you can see, you've got there with some characters next to detail, introductions, and important. These characters, what they will do, they will make the font very large, like you will see later on. As you can see as well, we've got some text, which not going to be interpreted by R, but you can put as well some code snippet, which are shown in gray. So this example of code here comes out that way in our web browsers. As you can see, all these formatting elements have disappeared and they have been shown in that manner when they all formatted. So let's have a look at what we can do with this R Markdown in RStudio. And I found some fabulous example in this link. So instead of reinventing the wheel, I'm going to reuse the examples. So if you wish, you can watch a video and it introduces the way they work. But first, let's have a look how you can include some code chunks. And what is quite interesting is that you can put some R code. That's what we really want to do. And you can even put like some parameters next to it, such as messages, if you want some messages shown, or other element we really would like to add in. And as you can see, this R Markdown example turned out on the right hand side with a lovely image of a volcano. So there you go. We've got as well some inline code, again as shown there, and you can put quite large element of code should you wish to, call of functions. You can add, for example, with Data Shield, all your logging details, they will be executed as usual. Now, you can add as well more than one programming language, and that is quite a cool thing, because if you want to use Bash, Bash is a command line, it's a command line language we use in Unix. And for example, if we want to list all the files or that we've got, we can do it by specifying Bash in curly brackets. And if we want to use some Python code as well, we can, and they will be interpreted as well. So for that reason, we can use code snippet of different elements. You can add parameters as well. And in this example there with the params, you can put some data, and some Hawaii data are available, and they just pick them up and create this lovely map with this lovely packages called map. So it's quite easy to use. Now we've got tables, and these tables are quite good, because let's imagine we would like to show clearly some results of some data frame, which empty cars is available on this page. We can use what they call library called Knitr, which I'm going to explain what it does later on. And you can basically look at the first 5 rows of the empty cars data set, and then it will display it within a nice table in a professional way. So let's have a look at the Markdown basic, because sometimes we would like to add better and more elegant text and to help our user to see the structure. So if, for example, like the big references is in big bold, as you can see, I think it's the %, that's being used, and the more % you use, the smaller the titles gets. Then if you've got a text in italic, you put some little star, and in bold it's double stars. The codes are just basic apostrophes, and you can put some links as well. If you use links, please make sure you got no spaces between the square bracket, which is the name that's been showed, and the actual link to the HTML pages or the URL you're going to use. So you have this aspect you can use, and you can even use some latex equation in your documentation. So the output format, there is several of them. That is the HTML document that we can format as HTML, but we can create as well some notebooks, which they as well clear to use. You can use slides presentation. Should you really wish to do your slides with that, you can. You can even use dashboard. That is my favorite. I wish I have an excuse just to create one for that, because then you can create in a more complex way the result of your data. So if you're a data shield user, please feel free to create them using this R Markdown. And if you wish, because to remember all this R Markdown, you can go to the cheat sheet, and they will remind you how to use it, which is much more, which is much better how to do it. So that's this. That's the way they are. And now we need to go back all to our data shield element to have a look how to install it and how they work. So we need to use this R Markdown to make this professional there. So let's have a look. Now, what we need as packages to make them work. First of all, you need to install the package R Markdown, and as well Knitr. So Knitr is the magic package that will read this R Markdown and create all this dashboard, notebooks, HTML book, PDF. The list is quite long. Should you wish to read the package definition, you can find them as additional reading list. When you use your art notebook, you need to go, when you create underneath the R script, you create your R notebook, and you become, you've got the R notebook that appear like I've shown you before. If you want to use a vignette, that's a bit more tricky, but everybody can do it. We need first to create an R package. Vignettes are only working in R packages. Otherwise, they do not work at all and do not compile. So they need to be attached to our packages. So when you create your vignette using your data shield element, you need to create an R package. Then once you have created your R package, you need to use a special command called from use this. And when you use vignette, it will create a new folder in your R package called vignettes, where all your vignettes will be stored in that folder. And there, when this command do work, you will have this lovely messages coming through and being shown on your screen. So that's the way once of your package looks like once you have created your vignette structure. And it creates one vignette called my vignette.imd, and it's the basic of the vignettes, the way they look like. They look like very similar as the R Notebook. You need to change the title. I will not touch too much the output, because the minute you change the spelling, things can go quite pear-shaped or not as you wished. And then I would not touch either this vignette element. The only thing I would is, if you change the title, please change the first entry called vignette index entry to the same title, otherwise the thing will not work. Then you've got the include, the first gray area with the knitter in it. That needs to stay there, otherwise the work will not work. And afterwards, then you can do whatever you wish to add your title, your subtitle, your text, your graph, your data shield analysis, and anything you wish. So how do we execute our notebook and vignettes when you have created them? You have this lovely menu at the start called Run, and you can execute all the chunks, or one of them, or just one previously that you wish to do. And then it will be, and when you save your R Notebook, it will be saved as an HTML format, which you can view into your browser. If you want to save a vignette, that's a slightly different way. You need to use the knitter. You need to knit. Yes, use to knit some lovely vignettes. And all you click, knit to HTML vignette, and you've got your vignette that is created. And the vignette I created from the code before. It's very exciting. That's what it shows here. My vignette, the library, and the hello. So I've created, that's a work in progress, but that's the way they look like when you got some code, and the way you can add some information about your packages or your demonstration of analysis. You can write titles, you can have number lists should you wish to, and what you've got as well, the gray areas when it was some code executed in R. So that's the way basically they look like. Okay, that was a quick introduction to Vignette. Should you wish to have a look more and learn more, please go into the Data Shield wiki, the R language introduction, and Vignettes and R Notebooks, and you will find all this information. Thank you very much. Enjoy.